Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
It's a live edition. PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. It's Tuesday. We'll have good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. And we'll have Chris Hare from FloridaGators.com breaking down Florida, Alabama tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Senior Day in the O'Connell Center. Big game. Should be a lot of fun. It's going to be on ESPN if you're interested in watching. Spring ball starts on Thursday. And baseball, I think, is rained out tonight. Let's go to the Take No More hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. And he's up early in that Central Standard Time. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Good morning, Shane. I just want this for you right here. This for you.
What is that?
Just listen. So you know. Remember that song?
I don't hear anything.
Well, you don't hear that? It's the most famous whistling part. Just listen to the first line. You'll know.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry.
You don't have to be happy. Just don't complain, buddy. That's all I got.
That's my new. Hey, look at me. I'm dressed out in orange this morning, which I rarely wear.
You got on a sweater and a
brand new attitude. I've got a new program in my mind, what to do. And I'm Mr. Positive. Mr. Positive, okay? That's me.
There you go.
Because, you jumped on me, piled on with other people last night saying, well, buddy, you can't say that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I got it. I took the criticism. I took it, and I changed, okay?
All right, good job.
Don't worry. Be happy. That's me, buddy.
There you go. You don't actually have to be all giddy and happy. Just you ain't got to complain. Josh has on Facebook Live morning. I don't care if you discuss golf. It's your show. Who you have for the win tonight? I think Gators win at home tonight. Play good ball at home. Don't you think the Gators win tonight?
I got mixed emotions about it because I was disappointed in how they kind of collapsed against South Carolina. Oh, wait a minute. Sure, I think they're going to win tonight. Absolutely. Don't worry. Be happy.
Hey, like I said, it didn't turn out the way you wanted against Carolina, but you also have to credit Carolina as well. So
I'm very bullish on what Todd Golden has done. I think it's unfortunate to have played so well and get down to the final second and get a three-pointer dropped on you and lose the game that you could have won. Now, do I think they'll win tonight? I think they probably will. The crowd's lit. My friend Franz Beard, Mr. Basketball, is over there pumping up people to come out to the Dome tonight and make sure they get there and cheer on the Gators, and maybe that's what it takes. Another Mr. Positive. Pretty soon, Shane, you'll converted the whole Gator Nation.
Yep. Paul on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, greetings from the Panhandle. Go Gators.
Mm-hmm.
Driving to Gainesville for the game. He lives in Pensacola. That's a long trip. Be safe, Paul. Paul.
Okay. Paul, stop in Panama City and say hi.
That's out of the way, buddy. He's got it from I-10 to Panama City. It takes too damn long.
It's a little shortcut. No, it's not too much. It's 5.
Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellog, QBI saw a stat that out of the current 86 scholarship players, 15 are from Mullen, 71 are Napier's recruits, 83% of the roster turnover going into year 3. Good deal. We'll see.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Billy's got a lot of his players on the roster. I don't even know. They really have that many Mullen players? 17 players?
Sounds high, but
15 players.
Yeah, sounds more like it, yeah. Well, so you want to know about my new attitude? How I'm going to help you? Help. All right. So here's my deal. All right. Start out today. Be grateful about something. Okay. Think of something. Start out with a little prayer of gratitude. Exercise drink more water, don't hold grudges, and say something nice about somebody. Okay. That's the
Damn,
new
buddy.
Mr. Positive, Buddy Martin. There you go.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. I mean, you can only control so much. So control what you can control.
I can't control that. By the way, say something nice about somebody. Russell Wilson was a great quarterback in Denver. Okay. Now,
Well, I don't know if he was a great
put that
quarterback
up.
in
Well, wait a
Denver.
minute. Shoot me. I'm in Seattle.
Yeah.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a great quarterback. Not so in Denver.
You think he's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he'll probably get there. More than likely. Yeah, he probably will be. Be my guess. I'm just guessing. But the deal is, it turns out. Now, here's the other side. I got to say this. They're calling it the worst trade in the history of the NFL. And the reason is the Broncos will take on $85 million in dead cap space, the largest in NFL history by twice as much. The largest dead cap part of that was Matt Ryan's $40.5 million deal with the Falcons. So not a good deal. Not a good deal.
No, not at all. A couple of texts on the Titan of our text line. Paul says Gators better get ready to play against his own defenses. Maybe, maybe not. You won't see any from Alabama. They don't play zone. You can't just call a zone defense if you're not good at it.
You don't think they'll see that 1-3-1 a little bit in there sometime in the second half? No.
Because, buddy, if your team's not good at that, you can't call it. That's why, all these people, like when you look, and I think I talked about this on your show or my show, I can't remember, but football, you got man and zone, you have different combination coverages.
Yeah.
You would think playing zone would be easy. Kids can't do it today in today's world for whatever reason. You got to play man, tell them that's your guy no matter where he goes, because players get lost in zone coverage at times. This text is from, I'm not sure who it's from, says, do you think the former Gators coach Mike White makes it at Georgia? Yes, I do. They've won more games in the last 2 years than they had in the last 10. He's not going anywhere.
Low expectations. You have those at Georgia. I'll save him. He's not doing a great job. Did okay. And I got to admit, anytime somebody goes to Georgia, player or coach, I ain't got much good to say about him.
Gotcha. Andy says, how much do they hate Russell Wilson to take an $85 million?
Well, really? Isn't that the truth?
Well, I have nothing against Russell Wilson. He's had some moments. Obviously, he's won a Super Bowl. I don't think he's a great quarterback, though. He throws a really good deep ball. That's about it, though. But he has trouble reading coverages. He's a one guy and then scramble type quarterback, and that don't work with Sean Payton. So I think that's why they got rid of him. Christopher says he's not a Hall of Famer. I don't think he is either.
We'll see, Christopher. I think you'll be wrong. He did win a Super Bowl. He had good numbers. So I didn't say I was nominating him for it. I'm telling you the facts over the years, what I've seen. I think he will be not a first ballot or even a second. He'll make the Hall of Fame eventually. He's in the conversation, Christopher. Put it that way, okay?
Gotcha. Buddy, we're going to talk a lot of basketball with Chris Harry when he comes in the second portion. But
yeah, he knows his hoop.
Yes, he does. I mean, he travels with the team. He's their right-hand man. Gator football, spring ball kicks off Thursday. Buddy, what are you looking for the most out of spring ball?
Did a column this past week about Billy being like a conductor, of this Philharmonic, all the pieces. He has a lot of pieces that have moving parts right now. I want to see some cohesion. What I want to see is better communication with the public. That's probably not going to happen. But like you say, Shane, the big questions about the defense. And we won't get to see a lot of hitting. So how are we going to be able to tell? I'm just hoping they'll come up with a good 22. And I think offensively, I'm with you. I think they're good on offense. Offensive line is something that concerns me. I don't know this new offensive line coach, DeCuster. Do you, Shane?
What, say it one more time about the offensive line?
New offensive line coach they hired.
I wouldn't. I don't know if he walked in my house or my office. I wouldn't know him.
Yeah, he's apparently played Louisiana before. Which
well, Billy must. I mean, he had an opportunity to only have one offensive line coach. He must really think it's important to have two.
He must.
and that's what he's doing. So,
Yes.
yeah, spring ball. I don't know what you get out of spring practice these days.
Well, the
I guess,
quarterbacks. We want to see the new quarterback, Lagway. We want to see him throwing. I want to see him throwing. But what does that mean? I don't know that it means anything, except out in my eyes, I'd like to see this guy. He looks good on film, and I really like him. He's the future. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But as you say, Shane, since they don't scrimmage that much, how can we tell? The defense is not going to be really tested.
yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell anything about this team until they play a real football game. But football's here. I know Alabama started yesterday, so it's always good when football's around.
Well,
Chris,
hey, yeah, not
question.
only that, but I'm positive about Billy. It's going to be a good spring. I'm Mr. Positive now. So it's all
There you
going to be
go.
great.
Well, how would you know if it was a bad spring?
12
That's
and
my
0.
point.
Well, just because I'm a Gator. So
Yeah,
you
well,
wouldn't know, but you build on hope, Shane. That's the thing about, and I hate to keep bringing about people say, oh, no, not Coach Spurrier again. But, he's already talking about, hey, they can win games. You said it last night. They can win some
mhm.
games. You don't know how many they'll win.
You have
And
no idea. They could
yeah,
win every damn game.
yeah, not likely,
They
but
could lose
good.
every game.
Yeah.
That's my whole point is okay. Joseph wants to know what's your take on Spurrier's recent comments about the Gator staff. You and I talked about this on your show last night. I
Hmm.
will give my thoughts on it. You go first.
Okay, I had him on the show, and I played the tape last night. You heard it. Basically, Coach Spurrier, he's not going to back down, and it sounded pretty severe, but it wasn't, Spurrier. If you know Spurrier, he's not going to sugarcoat it. He wasn't being critical, although he made critical comments of the program. He wasn't critical of Billy. He said, and he said it last night in the comments, you know me, I don't like a whole bunch of coaches. I'm not big on all these big coaching staffs. He said Florida's got 62, and that's more than anybody in the SEC. But then he said, as a caveat, well, everybody in the SEC seems to be doing it, so I guess that's what they do. So anyway, he said it. He's not taking it back. And I think you said last night you had a comment, let you make it about what you think it was, but to me, I would hate to see him do anything else but say what he thinks. Well, he did say, I like Coach Napier. He's a hardworking guy. He's a good family man, etc. But he doesn't like the bloated coaching staff. And he said other things like we've criticized him for special teams. And he said, I've done it both ways. And he mentioned what you said about I've had where each assistant coach had a piece of the special teams, and I've had a coordinator. So I don't think he walked back his comments. I don't see anything wrong with what he said, but I can understand this sensitive environment that we're in. Anything you say that's not positive is perceived as a criticism.
Yeah, people take it the wrong way, and I'll explain to you exactly what he was saying. But first, Greg says it's not about zone defense; it's about making shots. Well, Greg, if you know anything about basketball, what takes people out of zones is making shots.
Especially long
Um,
ones, threes.
yeah, I mean, if you're a shooter, you prefer to play against zone defense. Okay. All right, back to Coach Spurrier's comments. I mentioned these yesterday. Look, Coach thinks the same way I do. I'm not a fan of all these analysts. Whether Florida has 25, 62, Alabama has 50 something, Georgia has 50 something. It's the going rate. That's what people do today. Coach Spurrier doesn't believe in it. I don't believe in it because he never had analysts. So that's where those comments are coming from. It's not, and he also said if we were winning, nobody would bring it up. So it's just like I said yesterday. Coaches sleep in the office. His coaches never slept in the office. I think it's silly as hell when coaches sleep in the office. I think it's silly when coaches stay after 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night because it's football. You can overdo it. You can watch too much film at times. So was Coach being critical? He's being critical because we're not winning, but he wasn't. He doesn't understand why you need that, just as we don't. But it's because everybody else is doing it. That's why we have that. I don't know if that made any sense.
It makes sense, and I agree with you. It is hard to understand, but that's how Billy does, as you said, just like he's got two offensive line coaches. Is that
Mhm.
necessary? I don't know. He seems to think it is, which is why in the end we can't really tell. I guess what you could really want in spring is hope. You're selling hope. That's one thing. You're hoping and hopeful this team is going to be above 500 and getting people to buy into that hope. That's the thing. You don't have wins, so all you got is hope.
Yep, for sure. Tony says when the swamp shooter saw zone, it was game over. Damn right. Crank the bus. That's what we like to see is zone defense. Paul says throw 8 deep balls per game. Analyze that. That's it. That's what you got to do. You got to throw at least 8. Nobody will ever change my mind on that.
You got to write a piece for me on that about throwing 8 deep balls because you were so brain about it 2 weeks ago. Now you can't remember. You're getting too old.
No, I've been saying. I mean, that's just my philosophy.
I know,
But
I like
I
it.
would be interested in somebody doing homework because I ain't doing it. But if you watched, the teams that made the 14 playoff, how many deep balls they threw and what was the outcome of those?
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, it was all positive for the offense.
Splash plays.
Greg says the defense looked great in last year's spring game. They blitzed every down and only had
that's true.
one-hand tackle.
That is true.
Yeah, so I don't think you. The only thing I get out of spring ball is just looking at athleticism of a player. Like I still said the first time I saw Ricky Pearsall run a route, I was like, this dude is good, and I still believe he's one of the top 10 or 15 receivers.
Well, he's turning up the combine, isn't he? Wow, you see that?
Yeah,
the numbers he put up there. Wow.
Yeah. Rhode Island Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Plumbing. Shane, I agree with you on the tough schedule. We want to get better. We need to play good teams. Well, that's not true. Beating up on the South Dakotas of the world does nothing but pad your schedule. Well, there's tons of SEC schools that have those cupcakes on their schedule.
Yeah.
We just got dealt the hardest schedule and probably in the history of college football.
Yeah.
So anyway, Christopher says that Billy would some game, I'd probably say win some games. None of these stupid questions would come up. Winning cures all. Agree. Radware is a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. We got Buddy Martin on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we will have Chris Harry talking about senior night in the O'Connell Center. It's hard to believe it's already senior night.
Wow, it is, isn't it?
In college basketball.
Have you talked golf? Are you going to talk golf today?
What would you like to talk about in golf?
Paul Azinger's comments.
I didn't hear what he said.
Last weekend was quite a good weekend for the LIV with the rain delays in Florida and then LIV being played and having some named players like Rahm up there. This is kind of a shocking comment from Paul Azinger, who I have a lot of respect for. The best players aren't all playing PGA Tour tournaments. That's over. The PGA Tour has fast become the qualifier for LIV. It's a sad day for golf.
I don't know if I agree with that. See, what people don't understand is I'm big into golf. I love watching the PGA Tour, watching some of these young guys. These young guys are so damn good, buddy. They just haven't won, and they haven't been on tour long enough for people to know who they are.
I'm with you on
that.
I think it's a good opportunity for some guys. You're going to hear some names you haven't heard. Like, what was the guy's name that won? Eckroat or whatever his name was. He's
Austin
not
Eckroat.
young.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's really good.
But there's a lot of those guys going to seep into the cracks now, and they're going to start showing up. And you say, who? They've been around there playing. They haven't got the opportunity. But no matter what you say, if you don't agree with the fact that Paul Azinger would say something like that is shocking to me. I mean, he says right now, it says the PGA Tour has fast become the qualifier for LIV. That's a hell of a statement.
Well, I hear what he's saying, but there's some people on the LIV that have never won a PGA Tour event. Like there's a ton of them.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying there's some really big names that have been very successful on that tour, but there's also some guys that I would choose out of the PGA Tour right now that are no names that would kick their ass on a daily basis.
Well, that could be
like
true.
Pat Perez. Pat Perez has never won a damn thing.
Everybody talks
Harold
about Pat
Varner
Perez.
has never won a damn thing.
I know.
There's tons of them.
But they don't show up in a winner's circle. That's the thing.
Well, yeah, we got a text on the Titan Our text line from Chris in Mayaka. He says Wilson is definitely not a Hall of Fame QB. He isn't even in the top 10 of quarterbacks right now.
Well, of course he's not. He had any great years last couple of years. Trust me on this, guys. He will be in the conversation, and more than likely, I might be dead and gone. He will make the Hall of Fame, more than likely. Plus, you don't know what else he's going to do. What if he goes out and wins another Super Bowl? You don't know.
He ain't gonna win another Super Bowl. I can promise you that.
Shane,
I got a better chance of winning another Super Bowl.
No, because you're retired. He's not. He's
right.
35.
Well, that's
you're
my
not
point.
35.
Tony says it's sour grapes by Azinger for not getting his contract renegotiated by NBC.
Could be.
Yeah,
I still respect.
31 Ember says Azinger's mad because he got canned. He also asked, "Is Walter Clayton coming back?" He's got another year. I would think he does come back. We'll ask Chris Harry.
Walter Clayton sounds like a guy in some Walter Mitty movie or something, like an insurance salesman. Walter Clayton at the point guard, he hits, I mean, he's a heck of a player. He is a heck of a player. Didn't take care of the basketball. Oops, I'm sorry, criticism. I can't say it.
Got to be positive, buddy. Let's get to this day in sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. This happened on this day, both in, oh my gosh, what is wrong with this thing? I don't know why it does that. It changes back to the previous month. Okay, I got it right here. On this day in 2022 and 2023, Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Maybe the greatest female basketball player. She is the best I've ever seen. In 2022, she scored 41 in a semifinal game in the Big Ten tournament against Iowa. Iowa against Nebraska. 2023, in the Big Ten tournament final against Ohio State, she had a triple-double. She scored 30, 17 assists, 10 rebounds. So that's This Day in Sports, brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. She's phenomenal.
I love her. I think she's not just the most interesting female basketball player. She's an interesting basketball player, period. She gets her shot off. She's a baller. She dives for balls. I mean, she really hustles for a superstar. I wish she could play against the men, because I think she could probably score some points. But anyway, yeah, very good. Hey, did you hear what Emmett said? Did you hear about his rant?
Yeah, I mean, that's Emmett's opinion. I don't agree with it. I mean, he can say what he wants to say, but what do you think, buddy?
I think it's fine for him to say that, but you know what? It's the timing of things that hurt Florida with all the negative things.
It's the state of Florida. It's not the University of Florida. Florida State's doing the same
I get
thing.
it, but it's still a Gator saying it and is criticizing his school. And you take what we've had now with ETN's transfer, the so-called criticisms of Steve Spurrier, etc. And this is just one more thing, a negative thing for University of Florida to deal with. It may well be the case. It might be true. For those who didn't hear, Emmett ripped Florida for dropping the diversity program, although it really was done by the state, by the governor. His quote was, "I'm utterly disgusted by U.S. decision." See those words, "I'm utterly disgusted by UF." That's the ones that hurt. And the precedent that it sets, he said. I cannot continue to believe and trust that a team of leaders all made up with the same background will make the right decision when it comes to equality and diversity. History has already proven that is not the case. Fair comments. I mean, those are fair comments. I don't know what to make about the decision. It's fine that I can't say that he's wrong. I think the timing of it right now, it does seem like Florida's taking some bullets right now.
Say that one more time. Who's taking?
It seems like Florida is taking on water, taking some bullets, taking some hits.
I guess. I mean, if he didn't have to come out publicly and say that. I mean, there was no reason to, honestly.
The timing was not good, that's for sure. Yeah, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know if his comments have any reflection on the school at all, or have any. I just don't know why you would say that.
Well, anyway, he said, now here's the final thing I want to say before you kick me off. And for Chris Harry, he's got something to say about basketball. We mentioned this last night. You didn't bite. You didn't take it. I said last night, maybe if people talked more about positive things and their values were adjusted to a point where it wasn't just all money, 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 money. I know you say money's what drives the bus in football right now, and it does. I get it. But the average fan out there is saying, how much more are you expecting from me? And then you've got people who've been middle income people just trying to make a living and trying to support the Gators and going to the Gator Growl and, we love the university and extending home games, whatever. And they're saying, what the heck? And they're feeling like all they get to ask for is money. Is there anything else that counts? And I say, yes, loyalty does count. And it would seem like somebody would pick up the ball and say, you know what? Let's start rewarding and saying good things about people who are loyal to the school. And I asked the question, I'll ask it again tonight on my show. When you think about the word loyalty in regard to the University of Florida, aside from the statue guys, we know who they are, what image comes to mind? What person comes to mind? Loyalty. Let's balance it out with a little bit of something besides just money, money, money. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. And I mean, people are going to give money, some aren't. I think you can still be loyal to your school, to your whatever program it is without giving money.
I think you can too.
My whole point to the story last night was people bitch and complain about stuff they have no control over, and there's no reason to. And I think these people really need to get a hobby or something and take their mind off stuff that does not matter. That's what's.
But aren't they like typical fans? Doesn't everybody do?
I mean,
this?
it's not just Gator fans; it's fans of every school.
Right,
but my
exactly.
point is, it's no different than politics, in my opinion. Sports are equivalent to politics. All you can do is vote, right? In politics, buddy, can you do anything else?
No, but I can tell you who disagrees with it because he said it last night on the show, and he said, in football, college football, only one guy has to vote for you. Okay, Billy Napier just needs one vote basically to stay hired. And when you run for governor, you got 20 million. I hear what you're saying.
What I'm saying is I'm just talking. We're talking life here. Okay. We all love the Florida Gators. We love whether it's tennis, golf, swimming, football, whatever it is. Be a fan, support it however you can. Okay. You have no bearing over wins or losses. Okay. Just like in politics, I cannot stand politics. All you can do is vote. Okay. Then it's out of your control for the most part, as far as I know. So my whole point of it is there's been so much negativity about Gator football, and I understand we've had losing records, okay? But just bitching and complaining does not do any good.
Didn't hear from any bitching and complaining from me today,
no,
Shane.
Buddy, you're new.
Mr. Positive, happy, don't worry.
You're happy,
be happy. Yeah. Bobby McFerrin, right? So So what makes me happy is being able to do this show with you twice a week. I'm very lucky and blessed to have. By the way, who's the most famous number 9 besides you in sports?
That would probably be Roger Maris.
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams too, but Roger, yeah.
Real
quick, we had a text from Cornelius on the Titan No More text line. He says, Azinger is full of shit. The best players in the world on the PGA Tour.
Well, he's a former major winner and a heck of a good, smart guy, and I respect what he says. And whether I agree with it or not is another matter. I think that he would say it, even if he's got a contract that doesn't. It's kind of shocking in a way, but it's kind of shocking. Yeah, I mean, you think?
I'm just laughing at these comments. Andy says Ben Sass is making some moves, but can he please reinstate Gator Bait? I agree.
Wait a minute. Read that again.
He says Ben Sass is making some moves, but can he please reinstate Gator Bait?
Can we get some applause? Oh, well, get the term Gator Bait. That's what this whole thing
they're talking about the normal
chant. I know it happens also the name of my company. And it was named that not by me, other people, because why? It's a famous term. You heard it when you went beat your opponents around the field, Shane. Gator Bait, Gator Bait.
Yeah, well, I think people still do that. I think he's talking about when the band plays it.
Well, they banned it. B-A-N. Yeah. Didn't B-A-N, did they banned it? And right, President Sass bring it back. There's no reason whatsoever why that cheer was canceled. I mean, I know what some of my friends have said. Show me, prove it to me. I don't believe it. But anyway, it's just sort of, anyway, again, I'm not going to be negative. Mr. Positive, don't worry, be happy. Tonight on the program, Shane.
Who you got?
Well, we got the rest of the Coach Spurrier interview. We got Rob Brown. We got the great Scott Carter. And we got Coach Lauren Meadows on the show tonight, the Buddy Martin Show, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 right here in Central Time.
Good stuff, buddy. Appreciate your time. We're going to talk a little hoops with Chris Harry. That's the great Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Take a quick time out. We'll be joined by Chris Harry. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Silverback Concrete's a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build constructions with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. We're going to go back to the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements, and we're joined by super senior writer. I think he's a super senior now for FloridaGators.com. Chris Harry. Good morning, Chris.
What's the criteria for super senior?
I thought like a super senior is like 60 or older. Have you turned 60 yet?
Yes. Hold on one second.
I think Chris. Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm definitely, if that's the qualification,
Yeah, you're the super senior writer, and Scott Carter, I think, is still a senior writer.
He's a senior writer, but he's a junior writer.
Junior senior.
If you're going strictly by milestone birthdays, yeah.
Yep, for sure. All right, Chris, let's talk. Tonight is, believe it or not, it's already senior night. It's hard to believe. We have two seniors, Tyree Samuel, Zion Pullen. I'm sure they'll do a little ceremony at the beginning of the game. I'm sure we probably have some walk-ons as well, which are well-deserved. Mm-hmm. But it's the last game in the O'Connell Center against a damn good team who we played very well in their ballpark. How do you see this thing going tonight?
Well, you say senior night, it's really grad transfer night. Okay.
Yeah.
When you think about it, they both had senior nights last year. Tyree Samuel had his at Seton Hall, and Zion Pullen had his at UC Riverside. There's also a third grad transfer, Julian Rishwain, who has not played in an SEC game. He re-injured his knee in practice, never really got over knee surgery. And you mentioned the 2 walk-ons. So yeah, we'll get through that, perfunctory celebration and all that stuff early. And then, this gives way to it's really a big game for Florida, because I think if you beat a team like Alabama, I think it's a whole seed line right now, Shane. You got to the point, you've won 20 games, beat Alabama, which is very much in the SEC championship hunt. Yes, they did lose to Tennessee. That was a big loss. Tennessee has swept them, and some weird things have to happen for Alabama to still win. But beat that team, get another quad 1 win, get some momentum going into the SEC tournament next week. You don't know what's going to happen in some of these other games. Right now, Florida is 6th in the Southeastern Conference standings. It'd be really hard, I think, to get one of those double byes. But right now, they're playing the late game, which I always think sucks. The late game on the Thursday or whatever.
Start till like 10 o'clock.
That's right. And then if you win that, you got to play the late game Friday. You're in the late game vortex, and the second game on Saturday if you're so fortunate to work that far. But as far as the game, Florida needs to do a lot better than they did at South Carolina. This was another game they let slip away on Saturday. Another road game, another quad 1 road game they let slip away with double-digit lead, like they did at A&M, like they did at Alabama, like they did in that game against South Carolina. South Carolina was a really, really good team. They're picked last to finish in the conference. And I give Lamont Paris, their coach, who may be National Coach of the Year. I mean, they're 23-4 or 23-5 or something like that right now. And they were picked last in the league. They won 11 games last year. They picked some pretty good they had some good grad transfer acquisitions. They have a hell of a freshman in the front court. And he rolled out that 1-3-1 at just the right time. It seemed like the game was getting away, and it totally bamboozled whatever Florida was doing. And 7 turnovers in the last 12 minutes. Terrible defense in the last 12 minutes as South Carolina, would get a turnover, live ball turnover, and Florida's not able to set their defense, and then they're fouling. And they fouled over and over again. Now, people can talk about the fouls being uneven as far as discrepancy, but most of them were legitimate fouls. Give me a break. So there's some things to correct. And if they make those mistakes against a team like Alabama, even on their home floor tonight, Alabama's the number 1 offensive team in the country. They have as good as guards as Florida have offensively. They have 3 elite point guards in the starting lineup. So it should be a pretty good atmosphere. I think they're going to announce a sellout in a few hours. So it should be pretty good for a Tuesday night game to kind of send this team off. And this team deserves a pretty good send-off given what they've accomplished this season, I think.
The whole talk the last couple of days has been about the zone defense. I try to tell people, look, I don't know basketball very well. I just know that what gets people out of zone defense is making shots.
That's right.
As a shooter, you want them to play zone defense. And I think the Gators are a pretty good shooting team. But when Real Richard doesn't score, and he's probably your best pure shooter, it's just one of those nights. So I do not expect Alabama to play 1 minute of zone, because that's not what Nate.
That's not what they do. You're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to I'm trying to educate some of these people that, because we've had trouble against zone, does not mean we're going to continue seeing zone. If your team cannot play it, as a coach, you cannot call it.
Right. And Alabama playing zone defense is just going to slow Alabama down. Right. So they want to score. They lead. I think they lead the country in scoring. And I want to say it's 93 points a game, something like that. They want the fast game. They don't want a plotting kind of half court kind of thing. But to your point, also what also beats zone is ball movement, and you got to get the ball in the middle. And the thing that will get them out of the zone is that ball needs to get down below that free throw line, down in that. And I swear, I think they missed a couple passes in that game, or some open guys in the corner who may have shot their way out. I know Riley Kugel made a huge 3-pointer late in that game. But you also mentioned Will Richards. I mean, he has 4 points the last 2 games. He had 5 threes against Missouri. Make 5 threes against Tennessee or Alabama or South Carolina. Hell, make 2. They need more out of him. So I was on a show last week where someone asked me who the X factor of this team is, And, an obvious answer is Zion Pullen, because I think he's the MVP of the team. But I think the X factor is Will Richards. When he shoots the ball well, Florida's offense just has that other guy, and you can't concentrate on Zion Pullen probing for a mid-range shot, Walter Clayton bombing threes. Will Richards, that extra pass to get Will Richards a three-pointer, if he's, he's shooting what, I think 29% in SEC play right now. I mean, he's a 35% three-point shooter. So to your point, they need more out of him. And Micah Hanlockton didn't score the other day. He's not counted on for scoring, but he's certainly counted on for rebounding. I think he only had 5. Gators got out rebounded on the offensive glass that game. 1 offensive rebound in the second half.
I was going to bring that up.
That's what they're great at.
Right. People talk about the 1-3-1 giving us problems. Well, we didn't do what we do really well, and that's rebound the basketball. So it's a culmination of everything. And should you have won the game? Probably yes. But I like to say give South Carolina some credit for some adjustments and us not executing.
One of the biggest reasons Florida ranks so high in the country in offense is because they're the number 3 offensive rebounding team in the country, and the way those metrics are applied is an offensive rebound counts as the same possession. So if you're scoring again, then you've scored on that possession. It's not a second possession. So if they're not offensive rebounding, their offensive efficiency isn't going to be as good. And one in the game the other day, I think the one they did get, Will Richard pulled one down with like 25 seconds left in the game and threw it out of bounds. So even the one extra possession they did get, they gave it right back away. Not good enough. Now Alabama, when Florida played, now the situation with Alabama. Okay, so what's his name? Latrell Wrightsell is one of the best 3-point shooters on that team, on a team of great 3-point shooters. And he hadn't played the last 4 games. He got that concussion, and his first game he missed was the Florida game up there. Like I said, he hadn't played. I don't know what his situation is going to be for this game, but since he's been out, they've tried to play a little bigger. Usually they play just 4 pure guards and just kill you on the perimeter. But they also hurt Florida inside up there in Tuscaloosa with Walters and Grant Nelson kind of doing some rebounding work that they hadn't really done before. So we'll see how they go, what the availability is. Wrightsell is one guy who will play is Muhammad Wagabi is the guy who gave Condon that elbow right to the head. He'll obviously be back, and I imagine he'll hear it from the Rowdy Reptiles. But this should be a really, really good game between. It should be a high scoring game. You can't beat Alabama unless you can score with them, which Florida can do, or slow them down defensively, which very few teams can do, but Tennessee can do. I mean, in their games that Alabama has lost, opponents have scored, I think, have averaged 83 points a game. So there's your number right there to give yourself a chance to win.
Andy's got a question here on Facebook Live brought to you by Melon Law. Says, and this is interesting because I haven't really thought about this. It says, do you think Alex Klatsky or Jack May see any playing time tonight? Meaning, I can think of Dean Smith and Coach K, on senior night, they'd start those guys and they'd come out after like the first dead ball. That doesn't happen in college basketball anymore, does it?
Remember a couple of years ago when Keontae Johnson, they did a mock start to the game and put Keontae on the court,
right? And
they tipped the ball to him and let him kind of dribble. He went over and hugged John Calipari for letting him do that, but that really didn't count. It was kind of an agreed kind of thing before the game. I'll answer Andy's question definitively because Todd Golden was asked yesterday, "We feel any pressure to get Alex Klatsky or Jack May in the game?" He goes, "No."
Yeah. No, I mean it makes sense. It makes sense, but it seems like
possessions are they're gonna need every possession to score against Alabama. So yeah.
I agree with that. So all right, so let's just talk about. You said a few minutes ago if the season ended today, we would be like the 5 seed,
6 seed in the SEC tournament.
Yeah. Okay. Because we probably need to. I mean, if you go to the 7 seed or the 5 seed, if you move up, that's when you play a better tip-off time, right? It's that
correct.
6
I think,
seed is terrible.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not terrible, obviously, because you're not playing Wednesday. Wednesday is terrible, right?
Well, yeah.
I think they would
Yeah.
play either Georgia or what is it? Georgia or Missouri. The winner of right now, if the season ended, like you said, Georgia and Missouri, I think, are the 13-16. I think they would play the winner of that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical Smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. We got Chris Harry here, senior writer for FloridaGators.com, covering the basketball team. All right. So we had a text here on the Titan our text line from William. How is the health of the basketball team right now?
I think it's pretty good, actually. I mean, at this time of year, you're going to have guys that, require extra treatment and whatever. But when you go to practice, you look to see who's participating and who isn't. It's been a couple of weeks. I remember that they held somebody out just whether he had an illness or maybe his foot was hurting a little bit or something like that. But the team that you'll see is their team. This is now the team with basically an 8.5 man rotation, and they're healthy heading into what I would say heading in the last 2 weeks of the regular season.
Dan says put Klatsky into Smack Wagyu.
Well, I mean, I put like Alex Shimsick in if your goal. I mean, he's 6'10", 255. But he hasn't played all season, so I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah.
All right, so the season's winding down, and I still think this team can make a deep run in the NCAA tournament.
What do you consider a deep run? I always hear this deep run. Is that you win one game?
No. I think they can.
You got to get to the second weekend for it.
I think they can go like Sweet 16, Elite 8. I think it's that good because I love the bigs because they're athletic. I just think our two guards are outstanding, and it goes back to when I agree with you 100%. If Will Richard, if he knocks down his shots, this team is a team that you don't want to play.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that happens tonight. But my question to you is, what's it been like covering this team? I mean, they seem like a fun group.
Yeah, and again, in this college basketball 2024, all of a sudden you have a new team in July. Okay. And then you got to get to know these guys. And that takes the coaching staff to learn how to mix and match and these guys going to get along or, because usually you used to build camaraderie from years. We were talking about this the other day, the 2012, 2013 Florida team, I think was the number one Ken Palm team in the country. They were a 2 seed. They had 3 seniors. But they lost some games that they blew some late lead games, and the next year was the Scotties. Excuse me.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, the 20.
They blew some late leads.
They blew a bunch of late leads. Right. So
that's happened this year.
Arizona, Missouri, Kentucky, the Ole Miss against Marshall Henderson. They got but the junior class had 4 guys: Patrick, Will, Scotty, Casey. They learned how to win together, okay, and they learned how to lose together or avoid losing together, and that carried over. You don't have that anymore. So these guys got to come in and there's not this development over the course of it. So like Tyree Samuel and Zion Poland were brought in as 5th-year guys. They owed like 237 games combined in their career when they got here. They had to help, reset the culture in the locker room, but and on the floor with Walter Clayton also. So these guys do like each other. There's been like Riley Kugel's had a tough kind of season given the expectation that he came in the season, but Riley Kugel has done a pretty good job of persevering through some really frustrating times. I give him some credit on that front because he does show up a lot of times in good spirits and kind of fighting through some things, even though the frustration for him is obvious. So it's been a fun team because, they score. Okay. I've covered a few of these teams. Mike White's teams a lot of times struggle to score. Do you see them the other night? They didn't score the last almost 7 minutes of the game in their, in their, who was it that they played the other night? It wasn't LSU, was it? I forget who it was the other night, but this team is able to score, and a bad scoring drought for this team is sometimes 4 minutes. I've seen a lot worse. Billy Donovan's teams had scoring droughts too, but they generally like each other. The coaches are great to deal with. It's been great to see the turnaround of this team, and it's kind of cool going in, to be in late February and feel pretty good about your NCAA tournament chances. It's been a while since we've been able to do that here.
Speaking of the tournament, is LSU the team that you really don't want to face going into the tournament? Because they're kind of flying under the radar, and they're playing good basketball right now.
What are they right now? 8-8, right?
Yeah,
in the league. Yeah,
it's shocking.
And they've beaten some good teams, and they certainly came in here and threw a scare into the Gators a couple of weeks ago, and they came back from that. What was it, 20 points down in the second half, and they basically missed a bunny to put the game into overtime. But I didn't see that coming from them. I think the SEC tournament is going to be great. I think Mississippi State has kind of faltered late, but they can get better. but that freshman shooter who put on the show against Kentucky the other day, I don't want to play Kentucky actually, because again, it's about scoring and who's going to stop them from scoring. Now, they don't guard very well, but there's going to be some really, really fun basketball games in Nashville next week. Do you like lock in on conference tournament day? Do you just settle into your couch and flip around the channels and do stuff like that, or do you lock in on one tournament more than others?
Well, I'm an SEC guy. I'm a homer, so I lock in on that. But I like the Big 12 tournament. It's usually pretty good there. And where they play that in Kansas City or somewhere, I can't remember.
Kansas City, yeah. Unless they alternate it with in Dallas or Arlington sometimes with all those people there. Remember the old Big East tournament in Madison Square Garden? They would just kill each other, and how good those tournament games were.
Yeah, that was some good stuff for sure. Chris, we had somebody ask earlier, and I'm sure you don't know the answer to this because of the way
I don't know the answer.
Are. Well, you may not, but they wanted to know, is Walter Clayton Jr. going to be back next year?
Walter Clayton.
So you didn't know the answer?
No, I'm about to answer it. I mean, actually, no, I can't. I obviously cannot answer that because that's a decision Walter Clayton's going to have to make. But he's got a different kind of situation. He's got a little baby now. I think what would serve Walter best. I mean, his defense needs work, man. His ball security needs work. He can score, no doubt. And the NBA is about scoring, but and the G League is about scoring. But we'll see what Walter ultimately decides. He's closer to home, so his family's close. So it's not like he's up in New York and moaning about cold weather and not ever being able to see his family and friends and what have you. So that'll be a decision he'll have to make, I would imagine. Every one of these guys
play a part.
That's right. Every one of these guys is going to have that decision to make because of the NIL situation that comes from not just the Gainesville campus, but other campuses as well.
Yeah, and Mike asked here, who's going to replace the muscle of Samuel and the point ability next year? Who knows?
Well, yeah, exactly. There's going to be 2,500 players in the portal.
Yeah.
Somebody in the portal is going to replace.
Maybe Reed Shepherd wants to come play for the Gators.
Maybe so. If I think Reed Shepherd is going to cost a lot of money. You have to give him like three thoroughbred horses because that's probably some kind of. He'll be doing commercials for a horse track up there or something like that. But I mean, that there's a saying now in the coaching industry that they talk about pre-portaling. I mean, there's coaches that are just charged with looking at other players, anticipating that they'll be in the portal and scouting how they're going to, and that starts early on in the season. So that goes on, but it does make the off season a little more interesting because I every time a season ends, I write, okay, the season wrap and spin it kind of forward to see, what's coming back. You don't know what's coming back.
No, no idea.
Because everyone may leave and nothing may be coming back. Right.
That's a great point. Chris, good stuff as always, my man. Last night for you in the O'Connell Center this year. Hopefully it'll be a good one.
All right, Shane. Thank you.
That's Chris Harry. You can follow him on Twitter at Gators Chris, and obviously check out all his great work on FloridaGators.com. Rose Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals Ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Hope everybody enjoyed today's program. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.